So good morning and welcome to the Sunday celebration for the Center for Spiritual Living Space Coast. My name is Reverend Dr. Ron Fox, and I'm the minister here. And if there's anybody watching this morning or any other time that's never been to a Center for Spiritual Living, we believe there's one God, many paths to that God, and we're here to love, honor, and support you no matter what your divine path is. And the Center for Spiritual Living Space Coast is a safe haven for people of all beliefs and lifestyles, whoever you are and wherever you may find yourself on your journey of faith, you're welcome here. To begin our service this morning, my wife Becky, who's a practitioner emeritus, is going to open us with a prayer. And then then Carol Gabika, who's our newly published author, whose book is Musings on My World, which is available on Amazon, is going to do a reading for us. So Beck?
So let's just take a moment right now just to turn within to that place where each one of us knows our oneness in divine spirit. This place of oneness where there's no separation. Knowing that infinite spirit is all in all knowing, all powerful, and everywhere present. And I'm knowing my oneness in divine spirit, that it is who and what I am, always emerging itself through me, as me, and for me. And I am knowing for each one of us that this infinite power is emerging itself through all of us, through each one of us, giving us this wonderful, unique personalities. And so knowing this, and knowing that each one of us is connected to one another, that as we let go of this morning's activities and know that spirit is right here, right now, that wonderful things, wonderful opportunities are opening up. This one power in this moment, right here, right now, is expressing itself. And so I'm knowing that this morning is one of love, one of peace, serenity, creativity. That this divine power is guiding and directing Reverend Dr. Ron in today's lesson. That at this moment right now, that divine power is working, empowering us to move forward. And so for this and so much more, I just give thanks, I release it, I let it go, and just know that the word is in action right now, in this moment. And so it is.
Good morning, everybody. There's a country song that I love. An old timer counsels to live like you are dying. Like every tick of the clock is a magical second. Every beat of your heart, a reminder. Pounding inside of you, you are here. Open your eyes to see. Open your heart to feel. Open your mind to truly experience you are here. Put down the telescope and the rearview mirror. You are here. Breathe it in, celebrate it. Experience every magical second. You are here. Giving you the ability to be here. Feel the grass under your toes, the sand rubbing your feet, the sun making you squint, the wind rustling your hair. You are here. Breathe it in, celebrate it. Live like you are dying. live like you are living.
Wow, that's powerful. Thank you. Thank you, Carol. So again, good morning. The title of the message today is "The Moment is Now." And I want to begin with a quote from Ernest Holmes, who founded the Centers for Spiritual Living. He wrote, "Life is for us today. There will be no change for tomorrow unless we do the changing today. Today, we are setting in motion the power of tomorrow. Today is God's day, and we must extract from it what of life we are to live. Tomorrow, in the divine course of events, will take care of itself." So I want to tell you about an article that I read in the New York Times this week. It's about a lady who, in her 20s, decided, she went to visit Italy. And when she was there, she loved it so much, she decided that she wanted to move to Italy and live in Italy. And she did. 38 years later. She went in her early 20s and moved when she was somewhere 60-ish. She would say to her children, "When I'm old, someday I'm going to move to Italy." And one of her daughters would say to her, "Why wait when you're old? Why not do it now?" And she had all kinds of limits. Her husband, the kids, their house, and all of the limits she had were self-imposed. They were limits she put on herself. What she needed to do, she said, was to dream bigger and to dream more freely. So she decided to go live in Italy for a month to see what it was like, if she would really enjoy it. And her husband came after she was there, and he joined her for 10 days. And he loved it. They went back, I think they lived in Seattle or the Seattle area. They went back, he retired, they sold the house, and they moved to Italy. And she said, "One chapter of my life closed and another one opens." And she said towards the end of the article, the fact that it took her a long time, she said, regret is useless. Embrace right where you are today. When you're focused on the joy and the beauty of today, life unfolds effortlessly. Probably most of you watching or listening know who Viktor Frankl was, but Viktor Frankl was a world-renowned psychiatrist. And before that, he had spent years in a Nazi concentration camp, seeing a lot of his relatives, including his wife, die. And later on, he wrote that there were some people who would go around in the concentration camp comforting other people, people that would go around and give their last piece of bread to others. And he said there weren't a lot of them, but the fact that there were some of them proves that everything can be taken from a person except one thing. And this is how he put that one thing: the last of human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances, to choose one's own way. We have that today. We can choose our own way. We can choose where we want our life to go and how we want our life to be. Wayne Muller, a spiritual writer and minister, let me give you a quote from Wayne Muller, what he said. He said, the heart of most spiritual practice is simply this: remember. Remember who you are. Remember what you love. Remember what is sacred. Remember what is true. Remember that you will die and that this day is a gift. Remember how you wish to live. Remember how you wish to live. Rabbi Erwin Kula writes about a friend of his that wanted to open up his own consulting firm. And whenever they got together, his friend would talk about how he wanted to leave corporate life and start his own consulting firm. He wanted to be his own boss. But there always seemed to be a reason why he wasn't going forward with it. And Kula writes, one night they were somewhere, they were having some wine and once again talking, and the fellow, I guess the wine loosened him up a little bit, and he told Kula that he was absolutely terrified of leaving the womb and starting his own business. What he wanted to know ahead of time that he was going to be successful. So he kept coming up with more and more questions and more reasons why he couldn't do it just then. And Kula spoke to him and he encouraged him to move forward with the uncertainty, to act from a place where he knows the risks. And he said, even if you fail, even if you try it and it doesn't work, you'll go back into corporate life with a whole new set of experiences, a whole new way of being. And he said, we all have to have permission to act without knowing. And we do it all the time. Let me give you another quote from Ernest Holmes. He said, we have the right to choose what we wish to experience. We have the right to choose the kind of companions with whom we wish to associate, to say what city and in what type of house we would like to live. We are individuals, and the only way we can be individuals is to act spontaneously. One of the most basic instincts for human beings is to search for meaning. We all want to have a life that has meaning, to know when we leave that we touched people, that we did something that was important, at least to the people in our circle, that we just didn't come here, live and die and be gone. It's the idea of having meaning is what makes us human. And Joan Borisenko, who's a wonderful writer, says, make friends with the unknown. We don't know how things are going to turn out, but we can be friends with life as it unfolds. We can be friends with life as it unfolds moment to moment. Rather than what may or may not come. We don't have to worry about that. We need to let life unfold without judgment. And she says, faith is a verb. It's the willingness to experience life as it unfolds in all of its pain and in all of its promise. One of my favorite writers is Iris Krasny. And she asks a question that think about what this means and what it is. She says, who would you be if you weren't who you are? Think about that. who would you be if you weren't who you are? We need to listen to what's calling us. We need to be willing to take risks and to not stall. And she suggests that we target 5 things that we want to accomplish in the next 2 years. You know, it's really interesting because I've talked about this before, but when the pandemic started, one of the things Becky and I did was sit down together and write a 4-year plan for our life. I don't know why we picked 4 and not 5 or 3, but we picked 4. And just yesterday, we sat down and we took it out and we looked at it and we said, yeah, you know, we're doing pretty good for a lot of it. And there were places where we're not hitting the mark. And we're going to talk about what do we need to do to hit the mark there. You know, the truth is we can't know what's possible unless we're willing to take the first leap. You hear that? We can't know what's possible unless we're willing to take the first leap. Eric Butterworth, who's one of my favorite New Thought authors, in one of his books, he says, it's delusional to think I'll be happy when. You get that? It's delusional to think I'll be happy when, you know, when the kids graduate from school, when I get a raise, when I get a new job, when I retire. That kind of thinking really doesn't work. Life is change, and we need to find a new vision for tomorrow. You know, the book is written, the sale is made, the game is won. There's another book to be written. There's another sale to be made. There's another game to be won. We find happiness when we're in the flow of life. Life is growth, and life is change. Let me tell you a story about Barbara Deangelis. And Barbara writes that she and her husband went on vacation, and the second or third day that they were on vacation, she felt something wasn't right. There was something wrong. And she was taking a walk by herself. And what she realized was she was waiting to be happy, waiting to be happy. And then she had an aha when she thought about that we can't wait for happiness to happen like some kind of condition. Happiness isn't going to come down from the sky, you know, and take over for us. It's not a condition. We can't wait for it. Happiness and joy, they're not out of our control. You and I, we create them. We create them from the inside out. It's a choice that we make each moment about how we're going to experience each moment. And you know, when you think about it, that's our life. Our life happens moment by moment by moment. And we get to choose how we're going to experience that life moment by moment. Happiness and joy, they're not something that we're going to achieve one day. The point is, we can choose to be happy. We can choose to be joyful. We can choose to live the life we want, moment by moment by moment. You know, it's what Eckhart Tolle reminds us. The situation doesn't cause happiness or unhappiness. It's our thoughts about it that do that. The situation is always neutral. What your future holds for you is what's in your consciousness right now. If you want to know what your life is going to be like in 3 months, in 4 months, in 6 months, in a year, sit down and think, where is my consciousness right here and right now? What am I putting out into the universe? And what is the universe going to give me back? Robert Assagioli, who's the father of psychosynthesis, forget it, I can't say the word. But anyway, he told one of his students, there's no certainty, there's only adventure. Even stars explode. So I want to tell you another story about this. I read about a woman who had a lover, and they were together for many years, and then he died. And she had great difficulty dealing with it. For the next year or year and a half, she went through the motions of living, and she just couldn't get past it. And one night she had a dream, and the dream was that she was walking in a very high place, and she was holding her lover in her arms. And she got to the apex of where she was going to be, and she held him up, and he flew away. It was almost like he became a great bird. And the point of the story, the moral of the story, is freedom doesn't come from being in control of life, but rather freedom comes when we move with the events of life. We can hold on to our memories, but let go of the past. I think that's so important. We can hold on to the beautiful memories that we have, but we can also let go of the past. And when we do that, when we make the choice to do that, we can become free at any time. I read an article by a fellow named Benjamin Hardy this week, and he said, when you wake up in the morning, the first 10 minutes of your day are the most important of the entire day, because they set the tone for the day. And so he said, spend the first 10 minutes of your day in prayer, in gratitude, and in laughter. And he asks the big question, if this was the last day of your life, how would you spend it? If this was the last day of your life, how would you spend it? And he said, remember to love yourself as you are in this moment. Don't wait until you've accomplished something. You don't need to wait till you do something to love yourself. Just be kind to yourself and give yourself permission to enjoy life. I want to close with something I think I read months ago, and it just is so fitting. I want to do it again. It's titled Barely the Day by Veronica Robinson. She says, barely the day started and it's already 6 p.m. Barely arrived on Monday and it's already Friday. And the month is already over and the year is almost over. And already 40, 50, 60 years of our lives have passed. And we realize we have lost our parents, friends, and we realize it's too late to go back. So let's try, despite everything, to enjoy the remaining time. Let's keep looking for activities that we like. Let's put some color in our gray. Let's smile at the little things in life that puts balm in our heart. And despite everything, we must continue to enjoy with serenity this time we have left. Let's try to eliminate the afters. I'm doing it after. I'll say after. I'll think about it after. We leave everything for later, like after is ours. Because because what we don't understand is that afterwards, the coffee gets cold. Afterwards, priorities change. Afterwards, the charm is broken. Afterwards, health passes. Afterwards, the kids grow up. Afterwards, parents get old. Afterwards, promises are forgotten. Afterwards, the day becomes night. Afterwards, life ends. And then it's often too late. So let's leave nothing for later, because still waiting, see you later, we can lose the best moments, the best experience, best friends, the best family. The day is today. The moment is now. God bless you. Thank you for watching and have an awesome week.